Hello, my name's Jason and welcome back to I Have a Story. Today's Friday, so it's What the Freakin' Frackin' Friday. This is the video I was going to make last week in air, and it had just, this is one that just presented itself to me, and I'm really astounded right now in a lot of ways, and there's a few aspects and areas I want to talk about with this subject, but I can't help but say, what the freaking frack? And that is this right here. I like hot dogs, and I'll tell you what, especially with like a good homemade chili and onions and cheese and jalapenos. Oh, good old chili dogs, great. So I enjoy hot dogs. I'm gonna pick up a pack of hot dogs. I'm boiling them in a pan. Now this water's turning red, and I'll put a picture up here. I didn't take a picture of the pan at the time, and again, I don't always think about making videos while I'm going through this stuff in life, and then it just hit me later on. I'm like, wait, just heat up some water, pour it in a bowl, and put the hot dogs in, a couple hot dogs in this bowl, and I'll put a picture of what that looked like. So I'm like, wait, why hot dogs don't bleed? Why is the water turning red? Bing, it's got to have dye in it, right? So, one of the things that comes to my head is how bad of that hot dog looks before you put dye in it, that forced you to put dye in it in order to make me think that that was edible enough to eat. How bad could that have looked before? Are you really just trying to make your hot dog stand out above everybody else's and look, it's red? I don't know. But why are we putting red dye in hot dogs? Go back and watch through my channel about red dye in children and what it does to kids. I am sorry, red dye is a drug. When it acts and does the same thing as a drug does, I don't care. The FDA says, and this is wrong in our system, the FDA states that if it's in a food, no matter what else it is classified outside of food, it is no longer considered a drug, whether it has the same reaction consequences or any of it. That's wrong. That's not healthy and safe for the people, and it's misinformation. It's misinforming people about the products you're purchasing. Again, we need to be knowledgeable, stand together, share and talk, and gain knowledge again, and become safer and healthier. Uh-oh, I'm having a blackout in my left eye. I don't know if I should keep this video. I'll see what happens here. That's part of what I go through. My left eye just is blacking out right now. So, I don't know how I'm going to do the video if I can't see. Wiener's out. Oh, I didn't think about it. All right, so I guess this usually only lasts. This one's only going to last for a minute. Might as well just keep on rolling. Oh, that. So, wow. How bad does hot dog have to look before you put red dye in it that was going to make me say, no, I didn't want to eat that. Now you got to have to put and make it so that it's edible. And to show you how much red dye is soaked into this hot dog, break one open. Can you see how red this thing's red through and through, completely red. So I want to ask, why did we have to put red dye in a hot dog? Now here's more I want to talk about with that. Again, you go back and look at what red dye does to kids. Now, who eats hot dog probably as much, if not more, than anybody else but kids? And I've seen through and through that kids eat raw hot dogs more than any other. So How many people are feeding these to their kids raw? You cook things out, and when you cook things, it pushes a lot of that out. Even just look at what just pouring hot water on these did in the dye that came out into the water. But again, let's dive a little deeper than that. Red dye is a chemical. What happens when we burn chemicals? And I mean, not saying that you burn your food, but you cook and heat chemicals. What does it do? It makes chemical reactions. The chemicals break down, they change, they turn into other things. So what ends up happening with these? Does anybody look at that stuff? What happens when we cook red dye? Is there a chemical reaction that takes place and here's where I have even more problems. Just because we do determine and break down and see, there's nothing we can find. That is not actually what is said, but it is the truth. Listen to my words. There's nothing we can find. That is not what gets stated. What gets stated is, no, there's nothing there. No, what is the truth is, you couldn't find anything. And this is something, oh, there's the camera, sorry. I don't know what, I'm not going to keep putting these out and blocking out of this stuff. My eyes coming back to me now. People want to think that just because we don't see the final results of what we claim is not there, does not mean that there may not be something there. When I talked to my son's cardiovascular specialist, she put in her final report, there's nothing wrong with him. But yet, the final testing was stopped because he was in so much pain that they could not continue. But her final analysis was, there's nothing wrong with him. Now, doesn't that, I mean, do you really have to be a rocket scientist, genius, surgeon to figure out that if there's pain, there's a problem? And she dismissed him and released him from her care. Now, you tried testing him, but yet he couldn't finish because he was so much pain that we couldn't continue the tests. But there's nothing wrong with him. So I sat down and I recorded that conversation with that doctor. And I said, so is there nothing wrong with him, or is there nothing you can detect? There's got to be something. Something's wrong with him. And you can't tell me if he's in so much pain and you can't detect it, there's nothing wrong. So that tells me is either you're, and I didn't say this to her, I mean, in my own brain, either you're that dumb and you can't figure this out, or we don't have the technology, which is what I went with. So we don't have the technology to detect what is wrong with him. And she said, yeah, that's correct. A misconception is that just because we can't see it doesn't mean there's not something else there. We just don't know what we're looking for yet. That is the mindset that needs to be known and taken into thought process as you make decisions for yourself. Not a flipping computer. Are you flipping kidding me? So, why are we allowing this even on the market? Why do we have to put dye in a hot dog? What are the full repercussions of putting dye in a hot dog? How many parents, babysitters, any caregiver for a child out there, how many do not even know the red dye story, but yet see kids go absolutely crazy? And I'm telling you, they turn into demonic, demon, little child with horns that go pee. See if I can get my arm up. Yeah, that's pretty much what it does to kids. Again, I'm making this up as I go along. That right there is what red dye does to so many children. And they turn into something they would never be if it was not for that drug being induced into their system. But yet, how many people out there don't know about it? But yet, how many children get drugged and punished and nobody even knows what's going on? Do you guys see why I'm so upset and sharing this stuff? I mean, that whole entire world is already such a mess. This should not be one of them. Wieners out of our country with red dye in it. Why? Why do we have it? God, that wiener's out's working pretty good for more than I expected. I hope it's putting a smile on your face and educating you at the same time. Why do we, the country that's supposed to be claimed the healthiest, safest, strongest, most knowledgeable, more for our people than any other country, again, smoke blown up our, nothing but lies, deceit. This world is our country. It's all an illusion. Again, I woke up and found out Santa Claus isn't real. But yet, I learned it about the real things in life all the way through the board from my country. Why do we have this? What the freaking frack?